I mentioned LeBron, and
Yes.
we say every week we're not going to talk about LeBron.
You say it. I've been around long enough to know that sentence will never be true.
Well, I always assume that, like, all right, maybe there'll be like a dull week in LeBron world, and there won't be a reason to talk about.
Have you not been paying attention the last 21 years?
It's never dull in LeBron world, and this week is no different. LeBron James returned to the lineup over the weekend for the Lakers. Missed 2 games with a foot injury, and he talked to reporters after the last game. And I thought it was notable that he not only talked about the need to take some time off and rest his foot, but he also talked about, getting his mind right. I'm going to read the quote. He said, quote, "I had an opportunity to take more days and get my mind, body, and everything where I wanted it to be, and it worked out." What do you make of LeBron at the quarter pole of the season needing to take time to get not just his body right, but his mind right?
It's a very unusual situation. I think they had, two games in 10 days. He didn't play those games. He actually was away from the team, just basically using his house as a home base and working out and doing all the things. JJ said if anybody in that time wanted to travel, they could. So we don't know if he went anywhere or not. But I mean, the idea was that he would just have a break. And this is a guy who went from last season straight into Team USA stuff. And we saw really took the mental and physical leadership role with Team USA, which in that group is saying quite a lot. Won the gold medal, which was I know that it sort of all worked out the way we expected with Team USA, and we got those great moments in both the semi and final games. But remember that those games were close and exciting because it was very hard for them to win that gold medal. And if you were around that team this summer, and I was over in Paris with them, you saw how tense they were, right, Chris? Like you saw that was a very mental and physically stressful few weeks for them, few months really, if you go back to training camp. And so he went straight from that to the beginning of another Lakers season where he's sort of the guy that everything falls on, a new coach, and his son's coming in and all that sort of stuff. He needed a week off. He took a week off. We'll have to see how that goes from there. He came back. He had a dunk and a block in the first few minutes of being back on the floor.
I'm not against LeBron needing time off. In fact, just last week, I was advocating for it. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about how, why is LeBron on a long road trip playing the first end of a back-to-back against Utah? Like, why is he even out there? This idea that he was going to play all 82 games this season, which is an idea that he put into the universe, never made any sense. They always should have been strategic about all this. I am a little bit concerned, though, when a guy says, I needed a mental break right now. And look, this season has not gotten off the type of start the Lakers had hoped. They are effectively exactly where they were last year. Like, the record the Lakers have had through 20 plus games is almost identical to what they had last year with Darvin Ham. Like, the problems are largely the same. The inconsistencies, the defensive issues. It is what it is. It's not surprising because I think we both agreed a coaching change wasn't going to fundamentally change who this team was. It's not an indictment on JJ Redick in the same way it wasn't an indictment on Darvin Ham. This is just a flawed roster with 2 A-level guys and a bunch of other guys that are just kind of good, right? Like, Dalton Knecht has been a great story all season long, but you're seeing kind of his issues defensively are playing him off the floor a little bit. Max Christie got the start the other night. The first thing JJ said after that game was, wow, look at how good Max Christie, played defensively. Russell has the ability to get hot, but he also has the ability to take some incredibly mind-blowing bad shots. Like, I watched that last game. He was jacking up some early in the shot clock three-pointers that had to have driven JJ completely crazy. Like, this, I don't know. They're in this spot where I just start to wonder, how frustrated is LeBron going to get as this season progresses? And what moves, if any, can the Lakers make to push them to a higher level?
Look, we've seen on LeBron teams, Cleveland, LA, where half the roster feels like it changes at the trade deadline. I mean, that's kind of a LeBron special at some points. We say, half the team's getting traded away. And it's been successful at times, right? It's worked. They've gone in these second half season runs, again, in both cities. But we haven't seen it from Rob Pelinka these last season and a half where it's worked. He pulled a couple off a couple seasons ago. It has not happened since. This is essentially the same roster as Darvin Ham had. If the players don't work, the players don't work. It doesn't matter what else you do with them. And I am very interested to see if this team continues to be sort of mediocre where it is, if that affects LeBron's decision, how much longer he wants to play. If he needs more of these, I'm taking a few days off here and there, because it's just like we were talking about Nikola Jokic. Everyone out there is human. When you come to work and you feel like things are positive and going well and we can accomplish something, you are going to put more effort in. If you come to work and you feel like, what is the point of this anyway? You are going to put less effort in. And that is true of LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, myself, the person down at the hardware store, all of us. And it's human nature. And I'm very interested to see what happens with this guy who is trying to do something at age 40, very few have done, and a team that is right now not equipped for that kind of success.
You were pretty adamant a couple of weeks ago that LA is LeBron's last stop. Given what we've seen through the last couple of weeks, and given what we just heard from LeBron about the mental and physical toll this season's taking on him, do you still believe that?
I do. I just do. Look, I get it. I get all the sort of playtime of where could LeBron James be traded? Where would he go? What about seeing him and Steph together? I think LeBron is intrigued by that. I mean, he certainly played with it publicly and sort of likes spicing up that conversation. In the end, is he really going to ask to leave the Lakers, which is what he would have to do? Genie's not going to just trade him. He has a no-trade clause anyway. I mean, It's not even in Genie's hands. He would have to ask. Is he going to go on the record and ask to leave the Lakers, the team that he came and settled to, the team that just drafted his son, and say, I would like to be dealt, you no longer have the LeBron James show in town? He's not going to do that, Chris.
You're probably right, but like, what did he sign the contract for? What, 2 more years after this season? Like, is he really going to go 2 full seasons like this? Like, you know, Anthony Davis is playing at an incredibly high level, all NBA level, and they're still in this spot where they're in the bottom half of the Western Conference playoff bracket. Like, can you actually see LeBron James finishing this season as a 6, 7, 8 seed, getting bounced in the first round, and then running that back once again? Because it doesn't get much better if you're the Lakers. Like, yeah, you can hope for some organic growth with some of these young guys on the roster, but you know, they're kind of landlocked because of the moves they made the last couple of years. Can you really see LeBron playing out the professional string of his career, like finishing it, not in the same way that Kobe finished his career, because Kobe, you know, had some injuries at the back end, but just kind of toiling in relative obscurity at this point?
Well, I mean, but that's the question then, right? Yeah. The question is he capable of doing a version of that? And we just have to see how much of a version it is. If he makes the playoffs every year, but just doesn't go very far, is that enough? I mean, I don't know where the medium line is for him. But wherever it is, if he falls below that line, is it going to lead him to retire, or to him to ask for a trade to another team? And as much as I don't think he's looking to retire yet, I really don't. I think he still likes being LeBron James, superstar basketball player. I think if those are the 2 options down the road, I just think it's a lot more likely that he ends up taking his final bow than he does to go to the Lakers and ask for a trade after his history there, after his history of moving around in a way that a lot of superstars at his level haven't done before, and then to go ask to go to another team after they've drafted his kid. I just, there's 16 reasons there I don't see that happening.
Well, do you think is it a legacy hit for him if he does that?
Is
if
it
he says,
actually a legacy hit? Of course not.
Yeah.
He's LeBron James. He's done like the idea that anything's a legacy hit to me is ridiculous. In the end, when the records are down and we're generation or 2 past this version of talk radio, LeBron James' legacy will be fine. So it's not actually a legacy hit. Is it in terms of public opinion? Would it be a public opinion hit? Damn straight it would be, right? Don't you think? I mean, do you see any world where NBA fandom is not hypercritical of a LeBron James asking the Lakers to trade him so he can go chase another title?
Yeah, but hypercritical of LeBron, it's like you're hypercritical of LeBron no matter what. So no matter what he does, he's damned if he does and he's damned if he doesn't.
I think he cares about to what level and where.
But like even like Laker fans, like you and I both know a lot of Laker fans. They haven't embraced him like they embraced Kobe, and it's just different, right?
Yeah.
It's
always going to be different.
They appreciate what he's doing out there, but you know, Kobe will always be the biggest name in recent modern Laker history. So I don't know that Laker fans would revolt if LeBron asked for a trade. In fact, they might actually be appreciative. If you got a package for LeBron. I don't even know what he'd fetch at this point. It's what kind of deal you can get for a soon-to-be 40-year-old.
Okay, you really let's do it. You're really talking about
going right down that rabbit
all right,
hole.
you're
Okay.
really only talking about Golden State, right?
Yes.
He's not asking to go anywhere else.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
So do it. Do the Golden State trade that would actually work.
I mean, you're Wiggins, Pajemski, draft capital. I mean, I don't have the trade machine up in front of me, but something like that.
Is that worth it if you're the Lakers?
Depending on how much draft capital you get back in return, I mean, you've given away so much. Look, it's a domino effect, though, right? Like if you trade LeBron, you trade an AD too, which would also bring back a big package. In fact, AD would bring back more because he's younger, he's under contract for the long term, he's in the prime of his career. So you'd be not just dealing one. It would be in some ways like when Boston deconstructed its roster with KG and Pierce and then eventually Rondo. It at least give you a direction, because right now I don't think they have a direction. They're just kind of this rudderless ship that wants to be a playoff team and is trying to contend with its stars, but just has no path to it. Like you can't convince anybody, including probably most people in that Laker organization, that they're a contender.
Yeah, but if you're the Lakers and you're operating in Los Angeles and you are the Los Angeles Lakers and everything with that franchise, you will take two huge megastars and not a great record over a rebuilding team of no names. You know that's true.
I agree that it's true. It just makes no sense. It's not the way to run an NBA franchise. Like eventually teams have to take a step back. Every team that's great now has taken a step back. Boston, they took a big step back.
They're going to take a step back. Trust me, that's going to happen. You don't need to hurry it.
Intentionally. You have to purposefully,
yes.
Like it's coming, right? Like a cliff is coming for this team. The question is, do you jump off the cliff or do you get pushed?
I think it depends on who you are, where you are, and who is on that cliff with you. I agree with you that in a lot of cities, on a lot of teams, waiting for yourself to fall off versus actually making the leap and doing it actively and purposefully and intentionally, it's smarter to do the latter.
Yes.
When you are Los Angeles, you are the Lakers, you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you wait until you are pushed. Because you are not getting that back again.
That is wild.
Chris,
like I don't disagree with you because that's how the Buss family has operated for generations, right? I get it. But somebody there, whether it's Rob Pelinka or whoever, you got to just, you have to have a come to Jesus moment at some point. Be like, look, we can get this thing right in 5 years. Like we can put this thing back on track if we, deal away our veterans and build around young players. If you can swallow 2+ really bad years, we can put this team back on track. We are still the Lakers. Players want to come and play for us. We were awful when LeBron James signed with us. We were an average team when he came to Los Angeles. We can get back to that point where we can go recruit the next LeBron. Right now, you see our record? This is what it's the old Bill Parcells line. You are what your record says you are. And that's who the Lakers are. They're a mediocre team that's just not going to get better.
I'm just saying, this is the reality of the world that we live in, is that I just don't see, as good as it might be for all parties, I don't see LeBron James going to the Lakers and publicly asking for a trade, because that's what it would turn into. He'd have to ask, and of course it would become public. And I don't see the Lakers being like, yes, let's just start rebuilding now early. That's not how they operate.
Oh, God.
It's just not how either of those entities operate.
They could get so much for LeBron and AD right now. Like AD, I don't know how, we can't even get into this at this point, but like there'd be half a dozen teams in the league.
Of course. I mean, are you kidding? More. Keep going.
With
keep going.
With the capital to do it and like what might interest the Lakers. And LeBron, you could get something back from Golden State in return. You could start the process of getting back to being the Lakers, a championship contender. Right now, they are so far away from that. All right, hopefully there'll be a quiet week next week and we don't talk about LeBron and Lakers.